Hello, and welcome to part 4 here in this little series of me making a stitch book. And this will be the last video in this little series. Then it must be enough. But I will start telling you about these pages. But just let me say here, if you're new here or if you're an old friend of this channel, a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Lisbeth. I'm a Danish abstract mixed media artist who likes to do many different things. And right now I am into stitching, and I like to stitch into paper, and that is why I made this book. I have jelly printed all the pages, all the papers I had glued in an old theater program. And if you're not interested in making the book itself, skip part 1 and only look at the 3 last parts where I do the stitching on paper. And this is meant as a help for you who perhaps think it is difficult to stitch in paper and want to try. So here I give all kinds of tips and tricks and show you how you can do it, and hopefully you would want to try to stitch in paper when you have seen these videos here. I can say it's not difficult, but it's different than stitching in fabric. In the second video, I talked about what kind of needles I use, what kinds of threads I used, about pre-poking and all the practical stuff. So start with look at that if you have questions about that, or else if you have other questions, please don't hesitate to ask me and I will see if I can help you with the questions. And for the last thing I want to say, I have recently made me a Ko-fi account, so if you want to support my work or find interest in my work and it gives you something, you're more than welcome to support me there. At some point I will start making some minor videos only for people who support me on that way on the Ko-fi account. But right now I haven't done anything of that yet, because I want to see how interested people are in supporting me that way. But and also I have made so many videos here during the 3.5 last year, so there are a lot of free content for you to look at. But enough of me blah 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 blah, and let us start stitching. Not to make this video as long as my arm, I have started already, and perhaps this series already is too long, but I was thinking about I want to do something about triangles on this page here. So I have made nearly 2 rounds here, but I can show you how I pre-poke the holes for instance this one, and then we can I can sew it so you can see it. But the way I have done this here is I have just pre-poked the holes in the circumference, and I haven't pre-poked these holes here. But if you want to pre-poke them, yeah, how can I describe where to put the holes? If you yeah, I will come in much closer. Sorry if you were getting dizzy, but you can see the little hole is, I don't think I can come in any closer, then it will blur. But the hole is there, and then I will go diagonal out and go a couple of millimeters up and put a hole in there, go out there and a couple of millimeters up and pre-poke that. And the same here, out there and a little up 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 there for the last stitch. So if you look at it, if I try to draw it, the holes will go like this. and then there and there, there and there, and there and there. If you will pre-poke them all or just poke these here out on both sides of the line, that is up to you. I have poked them while I was stitching these here. But here it goes. It goes like this, and I will grab my needle and my threads. I come up in one of the holes in this here in the inner side and go down and go. I grab that thread there, go over it and into the hole, and then I come up the next, or that hole here in the outer line, go in that top hole again. So now you have the two legs, and then I just go into one of the sides. It doesn't matter if you go there or there, and it doesn't matter if you make that leg first or that leg first also. That doesn't mean do anything. And then I just go in the next hole in the outer line, catch the thread there and go under it. If I was sitting with a flat piece of paper, it probably would have been easier for me. And come up here, down in the same hole, down, come up in the, whoops, in the stitch there, the hole there, come up here and go down here. So now you have another little triangle, and I come up in the next hole in the outer line. Whoops. Go down in the hole, catching the loop or the previous stitch, go over it, come up in the inner line, there, down in the top hole in the middle line again, and just make a down, and that is all. Not very difficult. Whoops, and there my thread got out of the needle. Yeah, I will just thread it again and make the last two stitches. So you can see now I only miss the bottom part of this triangle, and instead of just going down in that hole, I will put my needle under the two top stitches on the first triangle in the round there and go down, and then the end is, or the ring is closed. And I don't think anybody will be able to see where I start and stopped. Okay, so I will just tape that, and then I can show you how I did this one. These peaks or triangles I have made this way. I again have just poked the holes in the circumference or the outer circumference there, and I have drawn another circle. You can see it's going there, and pre-poked the holes with about 1/2 centimeter between them. So it goes like this here. And then I have there are all these stitches that pre-pokes there, because there and there. And then I have made a hole up here, so I will just go up and down there. 2 stitches there, up and down there. 2 stitches there, up and down there. So holes for every second, you can say. There and there. That is the way I have pre-poked them. If I had made this stitch as long, it would have been a very long stitch there, and then it wouldn't be so round. It would have gone more than instead of that. So that is why I have double stitches there. Yes, so I will start making the circumference, the outer circumference first. I think that is the easiest way, but and I'll just do back stitches there. And that you have seen already in one of the other circles, or several of the other circles. So I had made this all the way around first. There. And then I have to, whoops, find where to come up. And you can see I come up there where that leg is going down, and find the hole up here. And then I have to find the hole I'm going up into here, there, and in there, and find the hole here up at the top, and down here, and 2 stitches here. Yeah, you can't see it. That is, I think it's this hole, but no, it is the next. Yeah. So it is thinking a little different than stitching into fabric here. So yeah, that was upside down, but that doesn't matter. So here they are, these 2 here. So then I will figure out what to do. Yeah, I'll skip this spread here because I think I will do that as the next thing. So let us concentrate on this spread here. And I think I will pull you in a little closer so you can perhaps see what I'm doing. I have traced 2 circles with a little distance between them. And again, I have pre-poked all the way around here, because I know I will dedicate this spread to the blanket stitch. It's one of my favorite stitches to do. You can do so many things with it. Besides making small pinwheel with it, you can vary it in so many ways. You can have short or long distance between what I call the legs. You can make the legs long or short. You can make the legs go in or out, and yeah, there are so many things, but here in this book we will just concentrate on the most common ones. And for the first thing I want to do is make around here in the outer circumference with blanket stitches, and when I have done that, I will make the same but make them the other way, so to speak, the legs would go like this into each other. And it is again not so much, yeah, I have pre-poked all the way around because I think that is the easiest thing to do. But if you want to pre-poke the holes up here, that is up to you, because you have now to decide how long you want your legs. You have a hole there, and you have to have a hole totally vertical up here. So if I want, that is the length of my legs, they would be that. So I think I will go up here, and I will just pre-poke a couple of them to see how it looks. And why not I don't make them smaller is because when I do the inner line here and making stitches there, I want the legs to go up between each other. So that is why. And I know it will be a little wonky, and so it must be, because I'm just eyeballing it. You could pre-poke these holes here if you want to, but I will just come up, let me see, there. And I will just secure this. Oops. Ouch. All that you have seen me doing several times, but you never know who just hit the video. Okay, so now I'm ready, and the way a blanket stitch goes, that's the way I do it. I know others do it differently, perhaps. Many of you English are used to stitching that way, but I'm stitching this way here. So I go up, not in the hole above, but the next hole, and go in here in the next hole and find the loop. And you can see I changed colors again. I have chosen this color here this time, and pull so it lies like a L shape, turned the other way. You go in and find the hole under. Yeah. Go in, that there. So basically, the thing if you want to pre-poke it all, you just need to have two holes lying above each other, like this. But since it is curved, the inner line, the space between them always will be a little smaller. But and that is why I sometimes don't pre-poke them. I just do it like this here. And I really like this stitch. So so many times I just pre-poke the circumference and do the other poking as I come along. Whoops, and now I'm tangled up in everything here on my table. It is a quite dark day today. So, whoops. And the last tool I have here is this one. So that is the blanket stitch made on paper. There. So I will do this all the way around, and then I will decide what color to use. Or if I will use another color or the same color, and how I will put my stitches here. So that will take me a little. So I've been all the way around, and I would just quickly show you how I end up around here. So I go up in the hole there and come down and the hole just under, and here, there, and then I go over that leg and in the same hole again, and then the stitch is secured, and then I can put my tape on. So that was the first round. So I will figure out how, if I will change color or just use the same color for the inner round. So done with this first round of blanket stitches, and the way I want my stitches to go is that line there, I want that there, and the legs going up between the other legs here. So the only thing I have to do is to poke holes in the middle there and there, again on a line, there and there, there and there, there and there, there and there, and that I will do all the way around, and then I will stitch exactly that like this round here. And I have decided to use the same color. So I will poke and sew this round also, and then you can see it when I'm done. So done with the circle and glued the pages together, and yummy, that looks very nice. And you can see, even though my stitches isn't totally even, and so the overall look of it is very nice. So you could also have turned the lathe, started with this round, the inner round, and put another round the same way, or another round opposite as you did this, opposite each other, so you would have legs peeking out both this way and that way in the circle. Yeah, there are many options, but now for this page here, I think I will here there are even space between the legs, and you do the same all the time. Here in this circle, I think I would yeah, I will start tracing it as the first thing there, and then I will trace a smaller one, and that is too small. I think I will go for this one and see if I can center it the best I can. You can, all these things I'm showing you here, you can always just eyeball it if you have a really good hair. You can see that wasn't very even, but I think I will just let it be, so it will be a little uneven. But the way I'm thinking this is, I think I want 3 long legs close to each other and a little space between them. So that will mean that I have to poke. This is the long stitches, and I think I will make 3, and then I will have to make the space between where I don't poke there, and then again I poke the long stitches there. So the sequence, I think it is called, is going from that to that. That means I have to punch 5 holes. And as a poker amount of holes that is divided by 5, so I will make a nice round and not end up with a 2 or 3 or more than 2 between here. So in this case, I will count my holes when I'm punching them, and when I'm nearly around, I will try to mingle it so it will end up with something that is divided by 5. Or you can count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. Do the same again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop, 1, 2, 3, and then you are sure you are making the right amounts of holes. So that is what I will be doing, and now you have seen me poked holes so many times, so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is what I mean by a sequence. And then again I will just go 1, 2, 3, and 1, and the 4 and 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I think I will just start now, so we can see if it's okay. Yeah, and I will just erase there. I think I need a new eraser. I think my pages are getting more black than before I start to do the erasing. I think it is a very old one, yeah. But I have chosen a little darker one than the other round, and yeah, to get started I need one of the 2 holes there, because yeah, else I can't get started. And I will secure my thread and be ready for stitching. Here we go, up there and down in the next hole and in the loop, and that was of course right between the 2 threads there. There, in there, and in here, that loop, in there, and in the loop. Yeah. That was the first 3 long stitches, and then I will just do back stitch here and do a back stitch. Yeah. There. So now you have, and you will have to come up the same place there. And go in the next. Oops, there's a knot there, and I don't want that. It's because I'm sewing with such a long thread here. Yeah, going up in the next hole. Oh my, there. So again in here, in the loop, in the loop, in the hole, and up in the loop. There. And again you take 1 stitch and a back stitch and another stitch, and then you do exactly the same, and that way you can get space between your threads, or your legs here. You can see if I only had made one stitch between, then the space here would, one hole here, this would have been closer to each other, but you can decide that. And when I'm done, I perhaps can consider to fill all these holes out so they will get a line, and that way I don't have to mess with erasing my pencil line. But I will sew all this and then I can show it to you. So you can see it ended up quite nicely, and that is because I counted to 5. So it ended up look nice. So I think I will just do 2 rounds of running stitches or double running stitches here in the inner circle. So you have also seen me doing that in I think it was the second video, like this, but with the same color. That is exactly what I will do here. So I will just come up somewhere, it doesn't matter where, and go all the way around. Perhaps it will be a little wonky here because this is a quite long stitch. You can also do back stitches, that could also work, but somehow I like to sew running stitches better than back stitches here on my paper. But I will continue and then I can show it to you when I'm done with this round. So done with this circle, and somehow it reminds me of an old watch. Yeah, but it does. But it is getting so dark now, so I think I will stop filming for today. And yeah, I also glued these pages together, so it looks quite nice. So I am missing this spread and the front and the back, so I will do that tomorrow. But for you it will go like, and there I am again. But I already punched the circles, not punched, but traced the circles and pre-punched the holes, because I know I want to do back stitches or double running stitches in the circumference, and I know I want to do some stitching filling the whole circles out. And right now I think I will go for some square stitches and some double seat stitches. I'm not quite sure yet, but I will start them up and make a little room free so I can show them to you how they are done, but then I can stitch them tonight by myself. And then we only have the front and the back to do, and I think I know what I want to do there, but I won't tell you that. So see you tomorrow, but for you, just in a sec. So here we go again. It's a new day, and I want to make the 4 last embroideries or the 4 last pages here in my book. And I have prepared the most of it, so it won't be a long video this time. So let us start with this one here. It is, yeah, I can come in a little closer there. Square stitches. And square stitches are quite simple. You need to poke 4 holes, and then you just make 4 straight stitches. In which order you do them, it really doesn't matter. And then you end up like this on the back side. Quite funny to look at, but I can show you here. And I have just poked the holes randomly here. I have this room left here, and I poked 8 holes here, so I will just come up in one of the holes there, make this one, and open this one down. So you make a little box or a little square, and mine are quite wonky, but I like them this way. Perhaps some people have difficulties with doing things random. I have many students who have trouble making the seed stitches because they are totally random, and their seed stitches end up lying at the same direction. So it is something to practice this stitching random when you make something like this, where you are covering a surface with one particular stitch. But don't do it more difficult than it is. This is only 4 straight stitches you put in these 4 holes here. So done with this. So I again will just tape it and say, now this is done. And of course this is just, yeah, you can make, I have made back stitches, but you can also make double running stitches with the same color. And then we can make the star stitch afterwards. I can show you that also. So here we go with the star stitches. And again, I just placed them totally random. But to make these sorry, small star stitches, you need to poke 8 holes. But if you think of it this way, a little star, it is that and that and that and that. And therefore you need to poke 8 holes. So I do it like this, and like this, and like this, and then I go in between, and in between, and in between, and in between. So these I pre-poke, and then again I can show it here to you. Let me see here. I don't know if you see. Perhaps it is easier to see on the back side. I have pre-poked them here. I'm missing 2 small stars. So I have come up there, and then I know I have to have 1, 2, 3 in between and go down in the 4 hole there. And again, in which order you do them now, that really doesn't matter. But I skip one and go into the next. And then you have a cross, exactly like earlier when we make the cross stitches. And then you could just come up here in between, there and there, and the last stitches you go up in the last, use the last 2 holes, and then you have made a nice little star. That is all. But I could do it once more. Come up in 1, skip 3 holes and go down in the 4th hole. Here you skip 1 hole and come up like that, and then down there. Okay, and now you just have to fill out the last 4 holes here with straight stitches. So it isn't anything more than 4 straight stitches, not stacked but sewed diagonal. And that is all. And isn't that just yummy? So again, I will take care of the back, and then we are going to make the front and back. This is the back of the book, so it is a little more heavy to stitch into. But the only thing I have done is stitched a lot of holes in. You can see the line there from the circle. So on both sides of my circle I have punched really many holes, as close as I could without damaging my paper. And I do them, yeah, what can I say, is to be sure that you have the same amount of holes. I stitch this, well, not stitch, but I make this hole and this hole, this hole and 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 this, and so on. I don't do all that in the inner line here and then the outer line, because I really don't know how many there are. So I think it's important to make them at the same time, and also to make them so straight as you can. It is perpendicular, I think it is called, here. And that is quite easy to make that when you have it there, but when you start turning your piece, you can see I haven't done a very good job there, and then I end up here again, and they are quite perpendicular there, and there it goes a little wrong again, but I don't mind that. But if you are really into having them totally straight and perpendicular, you will have to do it more neat than I am doing. But that is the only way. That's not the only way, but this is the way this quite simple stitch is done. So you could just come up and you take the next tool, and here you can see on the back there is only these small stitches, and that's because I ain't stitching like I'm doing satin stitches. I'm doing this like I'm doing, yeah, some people call this ladder stitching instead, because if I was doing satin stitches, I would go down there and the thread would be on both sides. This long stitch would be on both sides of my substrate or what I'm stitching into. But I'm not interested in that here in this piece here, because it would be much more bulky if I had long stitches here also. And another thing, and that's, I don't know how you say it in other countries, but here in Denmark, we in the old days, people don't have much money, and therefore thread was expensive, like all your other materials was expensive. So you will have to save where you can, and this way of doing it here is much cheaper. Like you use much less thread than you do if you're doing satin stitches. So that is why this kind of ladder stitches is don't use so much thread. So I think you understand what I'm saying, and I will just stitch this up and show you the finished circle. So done with the back of my book, and I could see I have forgotten to erase my line under here, but yeah, it must be there because I don't think I can erase that here. I know this, it looks easy, and it is easy, but it's not so easy to make the stitches lie exactly like I want when I'm doing them round. But it's the stitch I use very much when I'm doing my fabric collages, where I have two pieces of fabric overlapping, and there I really like to use that stitch as a line to place, to secure them over each other. So and all in all, I'm quite satisfied. I think it looks very nice. So for the last thing here in the book is the front, and here I have tried to erase my lines except right there. And this stitch is the Y stitch, and a Y, you probably all know. Oh, that was not the paper I wanted. This was the paper I wanted. A Y, that is the letter a Y. So for that you need a hole there, a hole there, a hole there, and a hole there. Then you come up there, go down there, have a loop, come up there and go down there. So this is what you need to punch for making a fly stitch, or Y stitch, not fly, Y stitch. Yes, it is called fly stitches, but the letter is Y, yeah. That's a little strange for a Danish person. I can hear that when I'm saying it. But let me see here. I've got my punch thing here, and the way I have punched it to be sure that my stitches are placed not totally even, but somehow even, is I make the first holes, the first fly stitch holes there at 12 o'clock, and then I made them at 9 o'clock, last 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And then again I divide that area up and made it there. And then again I divide it up. And that way you can see to that they get quite even they aren't totally even, and that doesn't matter here. But I think here I can have 2 more stitches in. So I know I have a little space between this and the next. Yeah, I don't think I can have 3 in here. 1. Yeah, I will just, let me see here. No, I don't think. There, and the space. No, I can only have 2 in here. So there's a space there, and then I go out there and down there and there. And then I have a little space again there and a little space there, and go down here and there. So now I can make these 2 fly stitches. Oh, sorry for the noise. That was a small helicopter here just outside my window. So I come up, go down here, come up. It's a little tricky to film this. Come up here and inside the loop, go down and down here. And that is the fly stitch. I can't wiggle it so much because it is quite heavy, this cardstock here, the front and the back. So up here, there, down here. Oh, 1 more, or what? Yeah, perhaps something is happening. Down here and there. That is a very nice stitch to sew. So I have made some smaller ones to fill it more out. I think it was a little cheap to look at with only 1 there. So then I have said I will come up in this hole here and go down here in the middle there, there and there. And again come up here, go down here, in here and here. And there I have the hole, and there I have the hole, so I only need this hole and this hole. So I will come up here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little tricky, but I will come up there. Go down in the middle there, come up in the hole here, and go down there, yeah, and then I will go into this hole there, and there, down here, come up, oh, sorry for shaking you, there, and there, my thread got out of my needle, and I will just thread it again. So here we go, and come down in this hole there, and for the last stitch again come up here and go down there. And you can make as many variations to this stitch as you want. You can make them small with a long stalk. You can make them wide with a small stalk or a long stalk. Yeah, this is what I mean by the stalk, this leg there. So here it is. I perhaps could have squeezed 3 in there. I can see they are a little more apart, but yeah, it is what it is. So again, I think the important thing here when you want to do some stitches is to look at the way the stitch goes, so you are sure that you punch the holes you need. And I think it is the easiest way to take a piece of paper and do like I do. Then you can see it more clearly. So I could have also, for instance, made another round where I poke hole there and a hole there and a hole there and there. And then that way I can make my circle more and more filled out if I want to. But I think this is enough. So I will take care of the thread here and glue this together, and then I will consider my book done, and then I can show it to you. So done with this front page, and oh my, I really love it. I love it, I love it. Yeah, perhaps a strange thing to say about your own work, but I really like this. So if I should give one big advice or a final advice, it is look at the way the thread is traveling and punch your hole after that. Take a piece of paper and make the way it goes and make dots there where you need to punch the holes. And then you got a much more clear vision of where you want to punch your holes. And I really hope that this 3-part videos have given you the urge that you would like to try to stitch into paper. It isn't difficult, it's just different, and this is the way you can make an old theater catalog into a stitch book without much material other than some jelly prints and some thread and a needle and some glue. That is all I have been using here, and you can use whatever kinds of threads you want to use, or what colors you want to use. There are thousands of ways you could have done this. There are some stitches that won't work this way in stitching in paper. That wouldn't work, but most of the stitches you can do this way here. Another thing is when you glue the pages together, they end up being totally flat, and that I really like. Yeah, and there I can see I have a little corner that has lifted up, so that is just to glue it down again there, and nobody can see that. So, and I like that the pages are you can see here, they aren't bubbly or anything. And because I have placed my circles different ways on the pages here, instead of only just in the middle, it feels okay. You can see here. If you want to, you can always put a little closure on, but I don't think I need to do that. And I know I won't be doing that. But I will make a flip through, and I will find my white substrate instead of this one here, and make a flip through, and then I will kiss you goodbye. So here we go. The front page with the fly stitches. This spread here with running stitches, double and single running stitches. Fern stitches and feather stitches. Chain stitches and elongated chain stitches, or chain stitches with a tail. seed stitches and cross stitches and herringbone stitches. And yeah, I don't know this, but spirograph stitches, perhaps we can call it. Blanket stitches and blanket stitches done in another way. And this is, yeah, call it zigzag stitches. I don't think it has a name, but as such. But and this here is, yeah, I can call them stacked triangles or detached triangles. I I won't say it's I haven't invented it, but somehow I think I have. I had not seen other people anywhere done the stitch like this, and I really like it. But perhaps sometimes you think you have invented something and you haven't, because others have also had the same idea. But this stitch is not a stitch I have seen other done, and I really like it. Small square stitches and star stitches and just straight stitches or ladder stitches, you can also so call it. So that was a flip through here of the book. I talked about in the other videos, if you want to try to do something on paper like this, some stitch circle on paper, I would like to see what you do. So if you're on Facebook or on Instagram, you can tag me, and you can tag me at this, and you can take a screen dump here if you want to. At this here, Dragon Kunst or at Lisbeth Dine, and that is in one word and in one word. And use the hashtag paper stitch circles also in one word. Then I can see some of your pieces, and I would really love to see what you're doing, and tell me about how you think it is to stitch onto paper. That could be very nice. But else I would only say I really hope you have enjoyed these 4 videos. I know it is a lot of videos, or perhaps they are too long and I show too much and I talk too much, but let me know that also. But yeah, perhaps that's my way of doing it, because I really like to teach. But I really hope this have given you the encouragement to try to stitch on paper and see if that's something for you. I really like to do it. But if you have liked this video and the previous videos, please give my videos a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. I would appreciate it very, very much. Also, you can hit the notification bell so you know if there are new videos coming up, or please give me a comment. I like to be in contact with my community. But else I will say, please stay creative, and please take care of yourself or people you love or people around you. And not but least of all, please be nice to everybody. The woman in your grocery store, the man you meet on the street who's looking badly, or just give them a smile. Smile to people you meet. That's the shortest distance between people. And it doesn't cost you a dime to be nice to anybody. And we all need this in this crazy time we are in right now, especially here in Denmark. It is not a very nice time for us Danish and the people of Greenland too. So please be nice to everybody. So bye for now, and see you soon again. Hej.